Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mathematics Lesson 2 for Form 1. And the DOKs consider 1 through 3. So we will pick up right away. And the strand is numbers for everyday life. And we're looking at substrand, real numbers, and numeration systems. So after the lesson, these are the 4 levels of difficulty that we can. Are you ready for the game? Let's go. So obviously I need the help of my learning materials here so that we can be able to set up the depth of knowledge. DOK means the depth of knowledge. How deep are we going into the knowledge? Yes, so the first question for level 1, we're going to look at level 1. Yes, DOK level 1. Let's put this here. And level 1, DOK level 1. It's a very simple question. So it involves individual portfolio tasks. This you are going to carry out in your portfolio, either written or visual. Yeah, so you can complete it in a lesson time. So let's go. Let's go straight. So the job is 7 by 4 equal 4 by 7. Now I have to identify which property of operation is shown in this here. What property of operation is shown here? That is the question. So let's put this here for the meantime so we get enough space for our dialogue. Yes, so now let's jump to the next code. So the next part of the code is simple. It says that I have 2 parts to consider. Yeah. And the question is that there's an equality. So what are the 2 parts that we are considering? Let me have my camera set up a little. Yeah. So the 2 parts that we are considering are, let's have 3 added on 5, or 5 added on to 3 plus 2 happens to be equal to 3 added on to 5 plus 2. So what property of operation is shown here? Your guess is as good as mine. So the next property is 9 plus a 0 equal 9. What property is shown here? And finally, let's push this a little for more space. So finally, we have this here. And we have another 3 multiplied by 2 by 4, or 2 plus 4, my pardon. I beg your pardon. 2 plus 4. Now, this happens to be equal this happens to be equal to 3 by 2 plus 3 by 4. Question is, what property do you see in the first one? What property do you see in the second? What property do we see in the third and the fourth? So your guess is as good as mine, right? So we have the commutative property here. because an interchange of 4 and 7 does not change the answer. An interchange of 4 and 7 does not change the answer. What about here? Working 3 plus 5 and adding on to 2 and adding on 2 to 5 and adding on 3. Does it result in the same answer? It does. And if it does, what property is this? Associated property. We have here, there's an element that reflects all other members in a set. What element is that? The identity element. For addition is 0. And then we have here the distribution of 3 through the bracket creates 2 new brackets where each member of this bracket has 3 attached to it to create new children from this parent group. So this parent group or this mother group and the father object B outside has created 2 children groups made up of the mother and the father group, mother group and the father group. So this is like a father, mother, these are the children. So there's the distribution property running through here. So this is level 2. We're done with level 2. And obviously, this has been simplified for you to recognize the properties involved. So guess what? We're now down to level 3. So we have level 3 questions here. Oh yeah, we just came down from level 1 if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So my bad. So let's go down to level 2. Skills and concepts. Level 2, yes. Now we are now on level 2. I think I mistook that. So this is now level 2. Yeah, so for level 2, let's go straight here. So in level 2, the question is simple. Use the associated property to regroup the following and solve. Want to use the associated property. So let's use these here. So what are the associates? So we have 15 and then 8. Add 8 added on to 15 and then plus 2 on the side. So we are working 8 added on to 15 before we add 2. In the second, and we want to use associative property to regroup this. How can we use the associative property to regroup this? So using the associative property to regroup this, all we have to do is shift. So the same way, I create the pattern again of 15 plus 8 plus 2. Notice that for the first set, 8 plus 15 are added first, and then plus 2 adds on second. For the next step, I'm going to attempt to add 8 plus 2 first before I add on to 15. This is the associative property. And you notice that 8 plus 15, what answer does that give? That's 23 added onto 2, that'll be 25. What about this? 8 plus 2 is 10, 10 added to 15, that's 25. So the two answers all give you 25. This behavior is called associative property. So when you shift the 8 to this side, it forms one side of the associative property. When the 8 shifts to the other side, it forms the other side of the associative property. Very simple and interesting, right? Yes. So the shift, but the answers are the same. So this, now how did regrouping make the calculation easier? So you notice that by regrouping, first it was 15 plus 8, which is a little more difficult to handle than 8 plus 2. So it's easier to handle 8 plus 2. So that easily forms 10, and you can see the answer makes 25. As opposed to adding 15 plus 8, it will take a bit of time, but eventually, if you get the answer quick enough, you add on to 2 and still get the same answer. So you realize that there are two different levels of difficulty in here. So that is the story of level 2. Now, so we will sample our cards and send them home. Yeah, so put them here. So now let's go on to level 3. So what says level 3?